ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਬੜੀ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਵਾਇਰਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ the Conservative Party's disgraceful nomination scandal in Abbotsford South Langley, ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੈਟਿਕ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਤੋਂ ਵਾਂਝੇ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਡਿਸਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਆ ਦੇ ਮੋਸਟ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਮਾਈਕ ਡੇ ਯੋਂਗ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੀ ਨੋਮੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਜੋ ਐਬਟਸਫੋਰਡ ਸਾਊਥ ਲੈਂਗਲੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਣੀ ਸੀ। 30 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਦੀ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਸਰਵਿਸ, ਮਲਟੀਪਲ ਹਾਈ ਲੈਵਲ ਕੈਬਨਿਟ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨਸ ਅਤੇ ਅਨਮੈਚਡ ਰੈਕੋਰਡ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਦਾ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਡੇ ਜੌਂਗ ਨੂੰ ਯੂਨੈਨਿਮਸਲੀ ਇੰਡੋਰਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਲੋਕਲ ਇਲੈਕਟਰਲ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਸਿਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ। ਪਰ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਆਟਵਾ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨੋਮੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੜਨ ਤੋਂ ਰੋਕ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਨੋਮੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਜੋ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸੈਟਰਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਜੀ, ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਦਿਨ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਸਕਦੇ। ਇਸ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਫੈਸਲਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਆਊਟਰੇਜੀਅਸ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਸੀ ਲੋਕਲ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਨੇ ਯੂਨੈਨਿਮਸਲੀ ਰਿਜੈਕਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਸੀ ਸੁਖਮਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਗਿੱਲ ਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ 24 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੋਈ ਸਿਗਨੀਫੀਕੈਂਟ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਸਦੀ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲ ਹਿਸਟਰੀ ਵੀ ਕੁਐਸਚਨੇਬਲ ਹੈ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਆਟਵਾ ਨੇ ਓਵਰਟਰਨ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਲੋਕਲ ਫੈਸਲਾ ਤੇ ਸੁਖਮਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਗਿੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਨੋਮੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ। ਇਸ ਫੈਕਟ ਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਕਿ ਮਾਈਕ ਡੇ ਯੋਂਗ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੈਂਪੇਨ 1 ਸਾਲ ਲਈ ਚਲਾਇਆ, ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 2000 ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਗਾਰਨਰ ਕੀਤੀ, ਲੇਕਿਨ 5 ਦਿਨ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੋਟਿੰਗ ਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਨਐਲੀਜੀਬਲ ਹੋ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਡੂ ਯੂ ਵਾਂਟ ਟੂ ਵੋਟ ਫॉर योर ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਔਰ ਡੂ ਯੂ ਵਾਂਟ ਟੂ ਲੀਵ ਇਟ ਟੂ ਅ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲ ਆਫਿਸ 3000 ਮਾਈਲਸ ਅਵੇ। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਸ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਰਿਗਿਡ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਹੀ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਅਕਾਊਂਟੇਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਤੇ ਗ੍ਰਾਸ ਰੂਟ ਰਿਵੋਲਟ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮਾਈਕ ਡੇ ਯੋਂਗ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਕੜ ਹੈਗੀ ਇਸ ਮੂਵਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਐਜ਼ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ ਰਨ ਕਰਨ। ਇਸ ਕਾਰਨ ਐਬਟਸਫੋਰਡ ਸਾਊਥ ਲੈਂਗਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਫਾਇਰ ਸਟ੍ਰੋਮ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਇਗਨਾਈਟ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਟੀਸ਼ਨ ਸਰਕੂਲੇਟ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਲੋਕਲ ਸਪੋਰਟਰਸ ਡਿਮਾਂਡ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਮਾਈਕ ਡੇ ਯੋਂਗ ਰਨ ਕਰਨ ਐਜ਼ ਐਨ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਇਨਸ਼ੋਰ ਕਰਨ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਕੰਪੀਟੈਂਟ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਲੀਡਰ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਟਵਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਪਟੀਸ਼ਨ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਸਰਕੂਲੇਟ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਹਸਤਾਖਰ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਾਈਕ ਡੇ ਯੋਂਗ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ 30 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਦਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈ। 8 ਵਾਰ ਉਹ MLA ਰਹਿ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ, ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ, Minister of Health, Attorney General, Minister of Aboriginal Relations and Reconciliation, Minister of Labour and Citizen Services and Minister of Forests. So ਇਸ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ, ਕੀ ਮਾਈਕ ਡੇ ਯੋਂਗ ਇਸ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ ਵਜੋਂ ਆਉਣਗੇ ਅੱਗੇ, ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਦੱਸ ਦਈਏ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਜੋ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਅਪਰੋਚ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣਾ ਬੁਲਾਰਾ ਭੇਜ ਕੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਪਸ਼ਟੀਕਰਨ ਦੇਣ। ਈਮੇਲ ਵੀ ਭੇਜੀ ਗਈ, ਇੱਕ ਫੋਨ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਪਸ਼ਟੀਕਰਨ ਦੇਣ ਨੂੰ ਅਜੇ ਰਾਜੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਕੋਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਡਿਸਪਾਈਟ ਦਾ ਫੈਕਟ ਕਿ ਈਮੇਲ ਤੇ ਫੋਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ। ਬਹਰਹਾਲ ਚਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਮਾਈਕ ਡੇ ਯੋਂਗ ਕੋਲ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਗੁੱਡ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ ਮਾਈਕ ਡੇ ਯੋਂਗ।
Harpreet, ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ. Good morning. Good to be on Red FM.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ. How are you?
Excellent.
Wonderful. Great. Lot of momentum gaining ground and talk of you running as an independent candidate from Abbotsford. So what is happening? Are you planning to run as an independent? Because the way the Conservative Party just shut you out despite the fact that you spent over a year garnering support for the party. What is your thought on this?
Well, the controversy is not going away, that is for sure, and in South Langley and Abbotsford it is very much the topic of conversation amongst those people that are thinking about our political future, thinking about the government that we're going to elect in probably 5 or 6 weeks. So I've become aware of this petition that was started by I think a group in South Langley. It is gratifying to see that kind of support continuing to build and develop. I think what is really driving it, though, Harpreet, and I'm, as I say, I'm very gratified personally. But you just mentioned on the air what the real issue is here, and the real issue is not Mike De Jong. The real issue is: are we going to select our own local representatives, or is some guy in Ottawa going to do it for us? And that is the issue that I think people are really upset by and rallying around, coupled with the fact that I don't like to and won't disparage anyone who wants to get involved, but we do need leaders and representatives who have some experience, who have done something in their lives that people can point to as confirming that they are qualified to speak for them in parliaments and legislative assemblies. So those two things combined, I think, are driving this initiative. And yes, my phone has not stopped ringing since we last spoke.
So, again, with all the support that you're getting and you're gratified for that, are you thinking that you will come forward as an independent over here?
I haven't ruled it out. We expect that the new Prime Minister, Mr. Carney, will probably call an election later this week, and that will force a decision one way or another. So at this point, I can only say that I haven't definitively ruled it in, and I certainly haven't ruled it out. But a decision will have to be made within the next week, I believe.
With your vast political experience, how do you view the Conservative Party nomination process?
Well, if you and I step back from our own experiences, and because one can become very emotional when we're involved ourselves, but by any reasonable measure, this has become a mess, and not just in the Lower Mainland, not just in the Fraser Valley, but really, unfortunately, across the country. These kinds of issues keep cropping up, and I don't think it reflects well on the Conservative Party, who have been arguing for an election for a year and a half, and at least, and have seemingly been incapable of organizing and running timely, fair nomination processes. So I think aside from me, aside from you, aside from the individuals involved, this is reflecting very, very poorly on the Conservative Party itself.
Well, of course, similar arbitrary decisions have been taken in other ridings also. So you had appealed the decision. Can you walk us through what happened during that process? Were you given any further explanation, formal or informal, as to why you were disqualified? And have you since sought clarity from the party leadership?
Yes. To answer your last question, not surprisingly, that's what I would like is some clarity and some honesty. And unfortunately, it has not been forthcoming. The decision was made. The only explanation I have. The only explanation I've been given is the one I shared with you previously, and that is you're not qualified. And I find that a little bit hard to believe. Informally, we seem to be learning that months and months and months ago, the folks at Ottawa decided that they had a preferred candidate, and it was not me.
Right.
And so they had to get me out of the way because we were poised to be elected by I was poised to be elected by the local membership, and that's not what some guy or guys in Ottawa wanted. So just get rid of them. That's the best way to manipulate a result is get rid of the guy.
Right. But Mike, this preferred candidate probably didn't meet the 6-month membership requirement also, but he was granted a waiver. What does this suggest about the fairness of the nomination process?
Well, look, it suggests that the fix was in from the beginning. And, you know, the principle here, we've talked about it before, if you're going to run this from Ottawa, then tell people that. Say, look, there's this notion of grassroots. Mm-hmm. So I think one of the things that historically has attracted people to the Conservative Party is the idea that it is a grassroots organization, and it presents itself as that, and it touts itself as a grassroots organization. This is not reflective of that. This is more reflective of a top-down. The party leaders in Ottawa will decide who is going to run where, and I think that is wrong, and I think it again reflects very badly on the Conservative Party, and over time will drive people away from the Conservative Party. You know, it wasn't that long ago that, especially in Western Canada, something called the Reform Party, and that was in part, that phenomenon of the Reform Party was a response to what people saw as a centrally managed political organization in Ottawa that wasn't responsive to the regions like British Columbia. I think the Conservative Party risks seeing a similar phenomenon develop. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and but no doubt that the grassroots image which existed has been tarnished, because in a lot of ridings this kind of work has been done, which the common people are not liking, who have been true Conservatives for a long period. Anyways, you campaigned for over a year, secured 2,000 members. It takes a lot of effort, time to secure that kind of membership. Did the party ever indicate any issues with your candidacy before the sudden disqualification?
Never did, which, as you can imagine, is part of the frustration and part of the surprise. To never once have had any indication of any concern a year and a half ago, to be encouraged, to be invited to participate. Never once was I contacted, or was the campaign team contacted with any expressions of concern. Simply 3 days before the vote, to be told you're no longer welcome, and that's you and I have talked about this. For the candidate, that is difficult, but for all of the volunteers that work so hard over the year, it's devastating, and it really does lead to them questioning whether we have a fair and functioning democracy, because democracy is dependent on political parties. People need to come together. I'm not suggesting otherwise, but they want to know that people want to know that the voting system is fair, and they want to know that their political parties are operating in a democratic way. And the worst part about this whole exercise for me is having to look into the eyes of the volunteers, and particularly the young ones, the young 16 and 17-year-olds who have worked so hard and got committed to democracy, and see them with tears in their eyes going, well, why should we bother? Why should we bother committing ourselves to the democratic process when it's not very democratic?
And especially at a time when you are throwing stones at another political party about transparency and all of this kind of thing, you also start doing it. Definitely, it's a big dent. Finally, if you could send one message to the Conservative Party leadership in Ottawa, what would it be?
Look in the mirror and try to remember the founding principles of the Conservative Party. Because somewhere along the line, in the zeal to form government, that seems to have been lost. The fundamental notions of individual freedom and democracy seem to have been discarded on the altar of political expediency. The Conservative Party, and I'm going to say, the policies of the Conservative Party around the fiscal management and responsible lower taxes and governmental management are ones that I support. But that doesn't justify undemocratic behavior, and it will, at the end of the day, at the rate the Conservative Party is going, it risks blowing it because people are taking a very dim view, and Abbotsford South Langley is as strong a Conservative area as there is in the country, and people are saying, I cannot support this, and I cannot support a candidate who is fundamentally unqualified to represent me, has no experience, and I'm not going to do it. And if that is happening in a place like Abbotsford South Langley, that does not bode very well for the future of the Conservative Party, I'm afraid.
Mike, thank you very much, and congratulations, and thanks for coming forward, because this has been happening in a lot of ridings, but you have come forward and brought the truth before the people. Thank you, and best wishes for your future endeavors.
Great to be on Red FM. Great to be on the program. Thanks so much. Sat Sri Akal.